Inter Miami beat FC Cincinnati 5-3 in a very, very exciting high goal scoring game that had me on edge. And I thought this could be a high scoring game, but I didn't know we were in store for 8 goals tonight, which we're going to break down. And also, Lionel Messi has his first hat trick for Inter Miami since October 18th, 2025. And if I'm not mistaken, they said it was his 61st career hat trick for the 38-year-old Argentine legend. A lot to break down here. Very good game. Curious to see what you guys think. But before we get into that, make sure you guys help us out and hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're getting closer to 13,000 subs. I think we're like 70 away. Also, make sure you guys hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our videos. And remember, MLS Moves was presented by FanDuel. Okay, so this game is a big game for both of these teams. FC Cincinnati's had some unfortunate luck where they've had a couple draws. Inter Miami had a good game against Toronto FC, but Toronto FC had a lot of key players out, and they also had that bad comeback loss against Orlando City 2 weeks ago. Okay, so there's only 2 games left after this. We're coming close to the World Cup stretch or the World Cup break for MLS. Both of these teams really could use a win here. They need some points, right? So Inter Miami had Gonzalo Lujan starting at center back, Reguilon back in the starting 11. Pretty normal starting 11, I'd say, based on what they've been doing this year. Very solid starting 11 for both teams. First half, right? First half was exciting, but there wasn't like many goals. Both of the goals were kind of fluky in the first half. But I think both teams had played very, very well in the first 45. Now, in the 24th minute, Messi opened it up by scoring a goal off a deflection on a bad giveaway from Miazga. Miazga had a bad pass, and I think it bounced. So Miazga passed it. It went off Messi's shin. It went into the goal. That gives Inter Miami the first goal, okay? So they're up 1-0. There was a couple chances. Inter Miami had one possession in the first half, like 52-48, and 7 shots, I think, for Cincinnati, 6 for Inter Miami. It was very, very even battle. It was a very close battle. Now, in the 41st minute, Kevin Danke, absolute beast of a striker. I joke, says he looks like Traore or maybe even Lukaku. He's tough to handle, right? He's in the box. He gets pulled down by Lujan. I thought that was a weak foul, a weak call, but they called a penalty. Danke goes down. He gets a chance. He scores. Now, Dane St. Clair did get a hand on it. I thought he was going to save it, but it still found its way in the back of the net. And Cincinnati ties the game up 1-1 at the half. And there was some frustrating play in the first half, but I did think Reguilon played really well for Inter Miami. I thought Yannick Bright had a solid first half. Obviously, Messi played very well. Suárez was okay. Frey, struggled a little bit. Some players for Cincinnati. I thought that Evander was I thought he was taken out of the game in the first half. I thought they did a really good job of swarming him and Danke in the first half. I thought Buca was pretty good. I thought that Ramirez was solid for Cincinnati. I thought Kenji was good for Cincinnati. There were some good players in the first half. So even match, second half could be anybody's game, right? Really could. Second half, I thought it was going to be 3-3. That was my prediction. I thought it was going to be more goals, 3-3. Well, Cincinnati, Buca scores in the 49th minute on a beautiful cross. Danke passed it to Ramirez, held onto the ball maybe a little too long, and then but it worked out, and they scored to put them up 2-1. But then Messi came back and scored in the 55th minute to tie it up 2-2. And this is where it's like blow for blow. 10 minutes in the second half, we already got 2 goals, right? So then it's like, okay, this is going to be an exciting, high intensity, electrifying game. Who knows how many goals are going to be scored in this match, right? Okay, so 2-2. Then Evander. Inter Miami got caught sleeping a little bit. Evander had too much space, and they did such a good job closing down him. Anytime that Evander got the ball, there was always 2 people on him that closed on him to close the walls, to force him to pass out or him lose possession. But for some reason on this play in the 64th minute, Evander had way too much space. He cut right. De Paul, I don't know what he was doing. He looked like he should have been marking him. He just kind of watched him, and then he just fired an absolute rocket. Golazo, left side, banger. I knew that if he had a chance to get one off, he was probably going to score, and he did. He scored an absolute beaut in the 64th minute to put Cincinnati up 3-2 against Inter Miami. But not so fast. Look, if you've been watching this game, you knew you knew that there were going to be more goals to come. 64 minutes was not where the goals were going to stop pouring in, right? That was not going to happen. Okay. So in the 74th minute or 76th minute, uh, Luis Suarez comes out. Matteo Silvetti comes in. This is like his first game in like 4 matches. He had been really good for Inter Miami last year. Matteo Silvetti was a very, very key piece in their championship win. He comes in and makes an immediate impact. Immediate impact. Scores in the 79th minute. Now, when he cut right, I thought maybe he took one too many touches, and Iwobodo came close to taking the ball or tackling him. But he just did enough. He scored in the bottom right corner of the goal and puts them up, or ties up, 3-3 with Cincinnati. And then we're at a stalemate again. We have a chance of someone can take this game. It's anybody's game at this point, or it could be a draw, but it just felt like there was just more goals in store, right? So it's 3-3 in the 84th minute off of, I think it was a cross, goes this. No, it was a free kick by Messi. I think it was a free kick by Messi. It goes into Celentano's hands, and then he gets ran into by his own player. He drops the ball. Hey, everyone, quick word from our sponsor, FanDuel. If you're into soccer like I am, you already know how exciting La Liga, the Premier League, and MLS matches can get. With FanDuel, you can make it even more fun by placing bets on your favorite teams and matches across all 3 leagues. Whether it's a Premier League showdown, a La Liga thriller, or an MLS game with your local club, FanDuel makes it easy and exciting to bet on what you watch. Just remember, you have to be 21 years or older to play. Please bet responsibly and only if you're of legal age and in a state where it's allowed. Download the FanDuel app or head over to FanDuel.com, sign up, and get in on the action. Thanks for supporting the channel through FanDuel. And Bertarame, Fox in the box, gets the rebound, scores to put them up 4-3. I'll be honest with you, Bertarame had a very lackluster game for most of this match, and I was thinking, would it be surprising if he missed that? I mean, he's had a lot of bad misses this year and underwhelming play. So, was it a guarantee that he was going to sink this goal? You'd hope so, $15 million man, but nothing is guaranteed with this guy. But he scores, and they puts them up 4-3 in the 84th minute. Inter Miami's in the driver's seat, winning on the road, up 4-3, was down 3-2 a couple 10, 15 minutes ago, but now they're right back in it. Or they're taking the lead. Not even just in it. They're taking the lead. So in the 89th minute, Messi scores to get his hat trick. Messi scores to officially get his hat trick and put the nail in the coffin for Inter Miami to beat Cincinnati 5-3. And at that point, guys, Cincinnati just didn't have anything left in them. They were gassed. They were tired. They had put all their effort into getting that 3-2 lead, and they just didn't really have an answer to make a comeback. I think Celentano was pretty bad tonight too, by the way. But at that point, it was over. Inter Miami just they beat them in the fight. They stood up. They knocked them out. Cincinnati they were gassed. Their depth really wasn't good enough to make any impact off the bench, in my opinion. Echenique, I thought, had a decent game when he came in. I think he was bad. But I thought that Shiralia wasn't good enough. Noah Bodo wasn't good enough. They just didn't have enough. And I thought Denke got gassed too at the end. They just didn't have enough to really fight back against Inter Miami. And inevitably, it was over after that 5th goal, which at most time it would be. If you get a 2-goal lead in the 89th minute, it's probably over. But Inter Miami got this huge win on the road against Cincinnati, a team that had been scoring a lot of goals. And if you guys remember, Inter Miami was up 3-1 on Orlando in the first half and ended up losing that 4-3. 3 unanswered goals by Orlando in the second half to take the lead. So Inter Miami has really found themselves in some bad spots this year with giving up a big lead in games they probably should win. But tonight, they get a huge 3 points on the road against FC Cincinnati, who's been a very competitive team, was like 6th place in the Eastern Conference. Inter Miami looked good. And Inter Miami is a team they look a little different than they did last year and earlier this year. They look more like their Tata Martino Day self, right? That's the way I look at it. So Inter Miami is rolling right now. They've only lost 1 game under Hoyos, which was the Orlando City game. So they're firing on all cylinders. They're looking good. They got 2 matches before the World Cup break. They got one against Portland and Philadelphia, 2 games that they should win. Cincinnati has had a lot of draws recently. They've had some disappointing games where they probably should have won. They've given up some late goals and kind of cost themselves, but they haven't lost a game in almost month and a half. So this is their first loss since like early April. Okay, so we'll see how they rebound. They got to play San Diego and they got to play Orlando, two games they also could win. But I'm curious to see what you guys think. What was your biggest takeaway from this game? Were you surprised that Messi scored a hat trick? Who was your player of the game? Let me know everything down below. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure you give it a smash the like button down below. Hit that subscribe button and little bell notification if you haven't already. And also, don't forget, MLS Moves was presented by FanDuel. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.